Welcome to Building Legendary Leaders, the podcast where leaders leave behind chaos and step into clarity. This is where real stories come alive with the struggles, breakthroughs, and lessons that shape the most effective executives today. Every episode delivers fresh insights you can apply to your own leadership journey. If you are ready to stop putting out fires and start leading with purpose, this is the place for you. Here is your host, Jim Saliba.
Thank you for tuning in to Building Legendary Leaders, and let's dive right in. Today's guest has spent 17 years helping Crocs grow into a global lifestyle brand, starting her career at the front lines doing customer calls at New Balance before her journey got her into rising into senior leadership. She now is shaping the future as the Senior Director of Customer Operations and Fulfillment at Crocs, where she leads across two brands, Crocs and HEYDUDE. Outside of work, she is passionate about live music, traveling, and has even studied abroad in the south of France. Please join me in welcoming Lauren McTiernan.
Hi, Jim. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you today. Today, we're going to be diving right into what really makes leadership grow through growth, change, and uncertainty, not just keeping up with the pace, but shaping it. And here's how we're going to break it down for today. We're going to start with talking about how to bridge two very different cultures, the stable, established Crocs and the scrappy startup HEYDUDE. Then we'll look into what it takes to set clear priorities when every function has its own agenda and there's a lot of noise out there that's constant. Next, we'll explore the challenge of putting the right people in the right roles and what happens when your first try doesn't quite land. We'll dig into continuous improvement, why small changes tested quickly can make a bigger difference than the huge overhauls. And for those who stay to the end, Lauren will share with us how she keeps steady and focused when customer demands become unprecedented. Okay, so Lauren, you've been part of Crocs for 17 years.
Yes.
Lots of change, blending in HEYDUDE. Looking back, what kept you so energized and committed to this industry for so long?
Well, Jim, I think it is twofold. Number one, I would say footwear is a pretty fun industry. And you see the product, you wear the product. So that's exciting to me. Number two is I'm always up for a challenge. And no day at Crocs is the same. We have, because of the continuous improvement and opportunities with leadership, we're set up for success and we're able to overcome challenges and then meet new challenges.
So tell me, you acquired HEYDUDE not too long ago. How was that experience?
I would say, so when I was at New Balance, we had acquired a couple of different brands when I was there. I was at a different level then, so I didn't have the same exposure as I have at Crocs. It was challenging. It's new for us. So that's something that I'm not used to in my 17 years at Crocs. And something that we have people from different companies that have joined Crocs that have that experience, which is great because they can bring their knowledge and their experience to Crocs for that.
So tell me the differences of culture between Crocs and HEYDUDE at the time of this acquisition.
You know, I think one of the things that is the same, and I think they are both fun. HEYDUDE and Crocs are both fun places to work. So I want to start with that because before we get into some of the differences, the big difference for me, and I'm a very process-oriented person almost to the nth degree. And that one of the biggest differences is the stable processes on the Croc side versus the, Hey Dude has been trying things out more and learning and testing and, well, let's do this. Let's try this. Very different than what Crocs is doing today. I kind of say it's where Hey Dude is where Crocs was 5 to 10 years ago when we were trying different things.
So let me back up again. I love that you brought together, well, what's the same, right? What's common for us, and we can build on that instead of focusing just on the differences. I love that you went there because I believe that is true in so many organizations, and why sometimes these mergers don't go well because they're focused too much on the differences. So fun, Crocs, fun, Hey Dude, same fun, different fun. I'm going to go back there to different.
For me, fun is moving fast and being agile. And I would say both brands move fast and are agile. So that's for me, fun is, are they up for the journey? And that's where I see there's opportunities for both brands, quite honestly.
Well, there's always growth no matter where they are. So what I'm hearing from you is there's a myth here that we're breaking, that work has to be hard. You're saying work can be fun. And there's different types of fun that we can enjoy at work.
Yeah, fun doesn't not mean hard, I think is my thing. It's hard. I think we celebrate wins, and there's a reward when you can deliver how you need to deliver. You can see the product, you can see the growth, and you can see the potential.
I like what you said about celebrating wins. I think there are so many times that we are so busy that when we do something and it works, we barely take the time to check the box and we're off to the next thing because we have so much to do. And we use that phrase, we learn more from our failures than our successes. And I believe that's because when we do have a failure, we take the time to say, hmm, what happened here? But if we celebrate the successes, it gives us the same amount of reflection where we can anchor this new behavior going forward. And I write about that in my new book. It's coming out next week, but it'll be out by the time this goes. And it's called Lead Like a CEO. And I talk a lot about those types of things to take the time and tell me about how you have celebrated some of those successes.
I think probably every company, first off, celebrates less than the company will focus on the failure more than on the success because they want to get better. So, which makes sense. I think for how we have celebrated wins, I lead customer service for both brands. And it's different now because back in the day, we were not remote. Our customer service team is fully remote, except for the leaders. So you can't do the same things in person virtually, right? So it's a little more challenging to celebrate. We'll organize funtivities that we can do with the team, maybe like a DoorDash gift certificate and then get on and have a lunch with the team. Try to gain the positive nature and try to get the teamwork involved and really try to recognize the team for the work that they put in.
I think that recognition really makes the difference. How was that a key, if it was a key thing, to help bridge these two different cultures?
Quite honestly, I don't think we're there yet. I think we have some work to do. I inherited the Hey Dude brand in December. It feels like it was 2 months ago, and it also feels like it was 2 years ago. I think we are working with our leaders to empower them to then recognize the team. We're merging meetings where the team can feed off of each other. We can really celebrate together and highlight any opportunities and wins that we have.
So, what I'm hearing is you're not there yet. It's still a bit of a struggle. You're still trying out different things to make it happen. How would you know that it's done?
Well, first off, I don't know if it will ever be done. I think that is the thing with Crocs because of the continuous improvement, right? So I think we are always focusing on how we can connect and how we can deliver more efficiently and how we can work together to deliver more efficiently. I would say for the first phase would be one team, and we would have one team handling both brands together. That is our target. That's what we are working on, and that's where in the next like 6 to 9 months where we want to be.
Okay. So, you have a vision of what this looks like in 9 months from now. I believe having a vision of what the end goal looks like, what success looks like, is extremely important for every leader. I find it amazing so many times that people are not having a vision for their area, for their team. And it's, well, whatever the company says is the vision. But you need to understand what the vision of your team is, how it operates, how they get along together, your own, what we commonly now call a North Star. So when you have that North Star, I'm going to twist it into now setting clear priorities. Does that North Star help you with those priorities?
So, one of the programs that I attended this year is called, we call it ELBA, and it's Executive Leadership Blueprint Acceleration. And it's the first time that we've done that at Crocs and at HEYDUDE, both brands. And it was an opportunity for 30 leaders to get together and have a 6 month, I think it was a 6 month program to coach and develop each of us to become a better leader so we can lead our teams better. And they gave us a really good toolkit that we can use. And it is taking that North Star and then building the strategy to get to that North Star. And then having key milestones and timelines of what we need to accomplish when in order to get to that one team.
Wow, sounds like you read my book already.
I'm excited to read it.
So, oh, great. It'll be there next week. I'll send you a link. So you have a vision, you have priorities, but every function kind of has their own way of doing things. They have their own agenda. Many leaders that I talk to have this problem where they're trying to get their stuff done. They need some work from another department, but the other department's priorities are completely different. How do you get through something like that?
For me, it's all about building the relationships and escalating when needed because we all have the same high level, we all have the same goals. And it's the goals of the organization. And so you have to, it's all about the communication piece for me. And you have to communicate very regularly of what your objectives are and how you need to get there and socializing that across the company. So everyone knows this is what we're after. This is how we're going to help the company achieve this goal. And then working with those leaders to then get there. It's not easy at all.
No, I kind of talk to leaders about when we get onto this topic, the difference between supporting another department versus collaborating with that department, right? So I support you. You need something from me. I put it on my to-do list. We get it done whenever we can, whatever. Collaboration is different. It's kind of, in my mind, being part of your vision, even though I have my own vision.
Yes. I always call it, where Crocs is today versus where we were 10 years ago. My team was subsidizing. We have a new distribution center 5 to 6 years ago that we opened up. And, while you're on that journey together, you do have to fill some gaps that are out there. But you can't do it forever. And you have to have that discussion with the leaders of this is what I'm doing. And we need this to be fixed long term so we can continue to grow. And I think the subsidizing can't continue. And the collaboration is really where it's at of we all want to get to this point. How do we get there together?
So when you set those priorities, you're talking about a common vision across departments to help bring things together. Where has it got messy for you? You thought you were clear and it just went sideways.
I don't think I have a good example of that. I think I'm not saying we're perfect by any means, but we communicate often enough that we fix it before we get to that point.
Wow, I want to live in your world.
It might be rose-colored glasses. I'm not sure, but I think it's probably how you asked how I've survived and stayed at Crocs for this long, and I think that's really important to I focus on the positive and I focus on opportunities that we have in front of us that we can help push the needle ahead.
Great. So you mentioned the term continuous improvement several times already. What are ways that you do that?
I would say over the years, it has changed a little. The objective or the overall theme is cross-functionally process mapping and looking at a process from start to finish and then breaking it down to understand where are the breaking points across that process. And then how can you test something or experiment something to fix it?
You used my favorite word,
What's that?
experiment. Earlier, you mentioned we tried this, we tried that. Hey, dude wants to try this. That's key word for experiment. Sometimes we'll say we'll run a pilot. That's key word for experiment. But I believe the word experiment has that scientific connotation to it, which brings in the whole idea, well, what am I trying to do? What's my hypothesis? My test is if I do this, I think I'll get that. And what's the shortest, fastest, quickest, cheapest thing that I can do to prove or disprove that hypothesis? And how would I know? What's my measure? And by bringing those together, we get small, quick tests that can point us in a direction that sometimes big overhauls do not.
It's small wins and quick wins. And they're not all small, but it allows you to have that vision and allows you to see, oh, if we just tweak this, then maybe we'll get this bigger win.
So, how do you go and do your small experiments?
It varies. There will be times that we'll have a 2-day in-person session, and it's time consuming. I'm not gonna lie. It takes some time and you have to have commitment across the org of doing this. At the same time, in-person collaboration really pays off. So we like let's do this in person and get a cross-functional team together, or we can do it virtually. You can do a whiteboard session online and work through. You can have an in-person session and then virtual after that to then make sure you have the connections with the right people across the organization and everybody's aligned to what you're trying to get to.
So I'm hearing that bringing people together in person now and then is a good thing to energize what you're trying to work on, keep momentum going or build momentum to start with so it doesn't fizzle out too fast. I'm a big believer in that. I think as humans, we're very social animals, but we want our convenience at the same time, right? Yeah, our cake and eat it too. So how often do you bring people together?
So I will say for my team, we've had 2 in-person sessions this year. The first one was actually at HEYDUDE in Vegas, and then the second one was last week here in Colorado, where we can fly the team in, work together to align on goals and see, just build that relationship. But that's for my team specifically. And then there's other times that we'll have sessions, the continuous improvement sessions that could be anywhere. We could all fly to Ohio to our distribution center for Crocs and lead there. We could all fly to Las Vegas. It just depends on what we're trying to accomplish.
So, if we have a leader who's trying to do this for the first time, bring two groups together, what would you tell them to do?
That's a tough one. I think it's all about showing the goal. So first, you need buy-in from the top of we are working on the continuous improvement. We'd like partnership across the departments in order for us to get to this point. And then it's continuing that communication because, I think people lose sight and everybody has their priorities and people get busy. So it's top down, and then it's reach out to your own peers across the org to get their buy-in. And then also socialize it and communicate it and communicate any accomplishments that you've had as well. So they can see we made improvements on this process. Now this is something that we'd like to focus on next.
So, I'm hearing collaboration, communication, every once in a while, getting people together builds energy. So, if you're focused on keeping teams steady through all this, using those tools, we said in the beginning, how does that happen when we feel the pressure of newer and growing customer demands?
You have to make time for it. Quite honestly, it could even be as simple as let's start virtually. You know what? If the team is not ready for an in-person experience, let's talk through something virtually first. Let's really focus on some key points of it's kind of like a from to model of here's where we're starting and this is where we'd like to get to.
And does that work with everybody?
You have to tailor it to their personalities and the people. It's all about the people, right? It's all about how people behave, how they respond, learning. We have at Crocs the insight colors. So you can be red, where you're be brief, be bright, be gone. Or you can be blue, like myself, where it's give me all of the details. And so you have to know when you're communicating to whom, what is their energy, how do they like to be communicated to, and how it's a negotiation.
I 100% agree. I tell many of my leaders that everybody listens to the same radio station. Now, just the fact that I use the term radio station kind of dates me by that, all right? But the internal radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? And I like that you said we need to tailor our message to that person. You use the whole color scheme. There's red, blue, yellow, and green. I'm green, by the way. And if we're not connecting to them in that way, and they're not understanding for them what's in it for them, or how it means to them, or how they work, what it means for their team, how do I need to change things? It's going to go right past.
Or they'll tell you yes, and then not actually do anything after that.
And not actually do something. Yes, yes. The head nod in the meeting, "Yes, I get you," and then go back to their desk virtually or not, and really not do anything different. Yes, that's a whole hour discussion by itself. We can get into that. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and kind of bring out your personality. How many Crocs are in your closet?
I don't like to count, because but I would say at least 50.
I happened to be looking at things, and there was a thing on the news recently about the Croc King having the largest Crocs collection, over 3,800 or something like that.
I don't have the storage for that. I don't know where I would put them.
I don't know, but he had an amazing collection that it showed, but not just Crocs itself, but other Crocs memorabilia and figurines and all kinds of stuff. Come on, you're not a great, employee buying all those things?
It's very easy to buy all the things. I don't have the best closets for footwear, I'll admit. So I have all of my Crocs in different spaces and rooms. But it's hard because there's so many fun products and collaborations and new products that come out. And plus, there's Hey Dude. So that's another avenue, and, I think, the Hey Dude products are great. So I visit a lot of distribution centers, so I can wear my Hey Dudes to the DCs, and it's actually really fun to look at the products and try them.
So, footwear, fun products. Tell me, what is something that happened or as a child, maybe something your mom or dad might have said that kind of led you in this direction in your career?
I have a twin sister, and it's the 2 of us together, and we're fraternal twins, and she lives in Boston. We were raised as, I would say, they taught us values, they taught us finances, all the basics to then get you to that next point. And when I lived in Boston, I think it's one of those things of find something that you wanna do for fun. What brings you enjoyment? And that's when I applied to New Balance to start answering consumer calls.
Wow. I can tell you when I was raising my two girls and they're getting college age, I constantly told them, if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And they're like, oh, dad. Yeah, dad, right? But years later, they both came back at different times and said, you're right. I love what I do. I love my work. Yeah, there's days that I can do without, but I need that.
Yeah, even in your personal life though, right? That is life, and it's all how you respond to it and what changes you make in order to bring the happiness back in.
So, your happiness is footwear?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's been 30 years, so I would think so. I think my happiness is I feed off of people's energy, number 1. So the people at Crocs are pretty incredible. And I can honestly say it hasn't always been that way, but in my current experience and my current life, that I'm surrounded by very good people. And I have good coworkers, good leaders, good friends, good family. And that is the most important piece for me.
So I'm going to go back to your childhood a little bit. You and your sister, twins, not identical twins.
Very different.
So you couldn't play the tricks on people and stuff like that.
No, nope, not at all.
Did you ever wish you could?
No. Because I would say growing up as a twin is very interesting. I think when I was in elementary school for, I believe it was 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, we were in the same class. We had one class. And I do think because of that, I'm used to being surrounded by people. And I always like to have a thought partner. I always like to bounce something off on somebody. I like to have somebody right next to me that I can be in life with. And I think I haven't talked to a therapist about this, but I would say that's because I grew up with somebody right by my side all of the time.
So when you say thought partner, the thought that came to my head is like a sounding board. So you had that all your life.
I would say between my sister and my parents, yes. Where my sister and I are very different, but again, we have the same values. We have the same roots, right? So we have different ways to get there. We have different enjoyments, but at the same time, we respect each other and we can talk through things.
Yeah, I would say my two daughters can say that too. But there are other times where I'll get a phone call and it's not even hello. It starts off with, "Do you know what she's done now? Tell me, have you ever done that to your dad?
Oh, and probably still. And she probably still does the same. I think that is what makes us human, and that's okay. There are times that we don't get each other. And again, it teaches you something about corporate, probably also. It teaches you how to navigate and how to communicate.
Well, this has been great. Lauren, why don't you tell people how they could reach you, share some contact information?
Great. I am on LinkedIn. So I think you can look up my name on LinkedIn. And can I share my email address as well? That should be on LinkedIn. It's lmctiernan613@gmail.com.
Great. Anything else you would like to leave our leaders with?
I would say my advice to leaders is change is good, change is constant, and be adaptable. Otherwise, you're not going to grow and develop. So take the turns, take the risks, be uncomfortable, and that's how you'll grow.
Fabulous. Thank you again, Lauren. I'm sure our listeners are going to love this conversation. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Jim.
And that's it for this episode of Building Legendary Leaders, and I'll see you next time.
Building Legendary Leaders podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.